Hello, and thank you everyone for coming to Tech for Techies and Teachable viewers. We are back with our featured guest from a few months ago, Lorenzo Williams, to be able to talk to us about some breaking news that has hit the tech front, and we want to learn a little bit about it. So if you're an educator, a student family, a parent, or community organizer, please take a moment to sit in and find out some new information or find out some extensions to old information that you may have stored in your mind. Lorenzo, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. I think I'm doing okay. I am a little confused about some of the new news where Apple is concerned in the global tech world. So I guess if we jump right in, can I ask you to share a little bit about what's happening with Apple and this app tracking news?
Yes, so Apple released a update. They usually release these mid-cycle updates before the whole number iOS has come out. So this is 14.5 that came out. They usually come out around this time every year. And so this time, though, there was a big hubbub about they are redoing how they ask if you can be tracked by other apps.
So from a technical standpoint, can you explain a little bit about what tracking means to some of our viewers or audience members that are maybe a little confounded by that term?
So that tracking means they're able to see your habits. So they're able to see what website you get on. They're able to see what videos you watch, stuff like that. So so you're kind of like a unique identifier, like you're kind of a number somewhere. And attached to you are your habits. So they can see in their guesses, nothing's concrete, but the guesses are worth a lot of money. So the guesses are like your sexual orientation, your favorite food, your favorite type of car, whether you're looking for a car right now, stuff like that.
Okay, so given that news, can you explain why some company execs that are not at Apple might be perturbed about this update?
Sure, because those companies have relied for years on you and your habits, and they have made it very quiet and discreet. So there is a way to not be tracked, but you have to go deep in the settings as before 14.5, and on Android phones you have to, and ask not to be tracked. The big deal is Apple has made that so you have to say you want to be tracked, because by default they won't. So they have turned this from an opt-out to an opt-in.
Okay, so I'm listening to all of the terms and I have a few questions based on that. First, I have a question about why a company would even want to follow what I'm doing on my phone or on my laptop. Why would they want to? And then I have a question about opting out and opting in. So can you answer that one first?
Yes, opting out. So before, basically, you were opting out. So you were opted in by default, and you had to actually do some effort to get out of it. You usually opted in when you signed your terms and agreement that no one listens to or reads, or they just do that by default just because. And so you have to go back in the settings, deep in the settings usually, in some kind of privacy and security heading or something, and opt out of being tracked.
Oh, I see. Okay, so let's see. I remember that in our first Tech for Techie series, you warned us about giving too many of our details on social media, and you talked about some measures of privacy that we might want to practice. For those of you who've not seen that segment, you might want to go back to the very first video in this series to kind of understand a little bit more about what we're talking about at this moment, or what we're speaking about.
Yes,
okay,
I wanted to show.
Oh yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
I just say, yes, I sent those to you because I wanted you to see how angry they are, because if you read those messages, they are giving you all the reasons why you should let them track you.
Okay, so if I'm a kid and you're tracking me and I have these habits and you have captured them in some type of organizational manner, then how is it that I become a sort of commodity for you to be able to make money off me if you are, more like a larger company who uses these statistics? Like, how do you actually turn my habits into money, monetary means to help your pocket?
Because your phone is like a billboard. So, and they have figured out that. And the reason that they want to track you and they want your unique identifier, so they want everything that they know about you or can guess about you, is because now they can target those ads to your phone or billboard so that you are more likely to actually click on it and buy something from it. Because if you if you are a fan of Japanese cars, and they also know that you're in the market for a car, you would be more likely to click on an ad for a Nissan that comes up. Whereas without your unique identifier, they would just have to send that ad out at random, and it would be wasted money and it wouldn't get as many clicks.
Okay, I think I'm catching on now. So basically, my habits allow a company to be able to market to an ad company the type of customers they have, basically to say, well, we have, a lot of customers in this demographic, perhaps that maybe are interested in your product, and we can definitely take your ad and target them. So give us money for your ad so that we can target some of these people. Am I kind of moving in the right direction there, understanding correctly?
So your habits, they end up going into these giant databases, and so whenever a company wants to advertise, they have to pay money to gain access to these databases, so they know who to target the ads to.
I see. Yeah, I probably would be a little upset if you then took away my base of habits.
Right.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, would it?
It's working because only 4%, I think I already sent this to you, only 4% of Apple users have let them track so far. So
basically what that means is that looks like the majority of the people are saying, hey, if I realize or recognize that I'm given a choice about whether or not I'll let you track me and monitor everything that I'm doing, my answer is no. Is that correct?
That is correct, and that's how it should be.
Okay, kudos to Apple for giving that I don't want to call it an amenity because it should just be open, but that right to their customers. Okay, I have another question for you. So that's really interesting news, but then I saw another component of this wonderful new rollout that kind of made me scratch my head. I saw something about wearing face masks and trying to open your iPhone, that was going to be something that was included in this new rollout of an update. I don't know if that's so or not. Could you tell us what's so important about being able to be recognized with a mask on our faces?
So Apple, once again, adapting to the pandemic. Before, you had to use Face ID for most of their new phones. And while it's quick and while it's secure, it doesn't really work well if you have a face mask on, which everyone has had on for over a year now. So they have used their ultra wideband sensors in the phone and your Apple Watch to unlock your phone with your watch if your phone detects that you have a face mask on.
Oh my gosh. Well, since we see a lot of states pulling back, and in fact, just the United States in general and the CDC pulling back that mask mandate now, I guess it would be very beneficial to some of those who decide to keep masks on their faces for whatever safety precautions or safety reasons they want to. And it makes it, I guess, really convenient if you can do that quickly to be able to open your phone.
And it's not just, and I know that when we speak about Apple, we speak normally about US customers because that is the bulk of their sales. But other countries and other communities, they've been wearing masks for a long time. It hasn't just been a pandemic thing. So that's going to be very helpful to them.
I think you're right. I'm so excited. I know that I think I told you the last time I have so many students who had, and they're little students actually, some of them that are very small, they're very excited to have their watches. So I know they're going to be happy to be able to set up this connection between the two and have their phones be able to identify them quickly. That's really good, especially given some of the issues we've had in general with facial recognition lately and apps as well as devices. We'll get into that in perhaps a next more serious social justice type, I guess, meeting about text, which we definitely need to have because there's some things going on out there. I'm so glad you would. I have one more question for you. As a tech person yourself and someone that understands these systems, what do you think about that? What would you say to someone who made that statement? Like, it really doesn't matter because all of our information is out there anyway.
Well, I would first say that all of your information is out there because you put it out there, whether in one way or another. And I would tell them that they still should be very cautious of what they put out there because, as we all know, everything you put on the internet is there forever in one facet or another. It might not be in the same spot that you put it, but it's still there somewhere. And that becomes a thing, especially as I'm sure you're aware of the Colonial Pipeline that got hacked with a ransomware attack. Those attacks happen very frequent. It's only every so often that a company, they can choose whether or not they want to disclose whether an attack has happened on them. But that is your data that they're holding hostage. That is your data that they are stealing. So you need to be very cautious of what you put out there. That's why in a previous podcast, I instructed if you don't have to put your address, if you don't have to put your credit card number, if you don't have to scan your driver's license like some apps want you to do to verify identity, if you don't have to do any of that, don't do it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, getting information out of me sometimes is like pulling teeth.
And it should be, because it's yours.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And creating, I call them just shelter accounts where you know that only that particular payment for whatever it is going to come out of just that account. An account that, anything that you're really trying to save, don't disclose that on the internet for any purpose. Don't use that card, don't use that account to go shopping on Amazon. Don't put that card into your special place where everything is maintained, so it makes it easy for you with one click. Don't do it for the money that you're actually trying to preserve and don't want anyone to touch, because that's the way I do things. Do you think that that's also a smart idea for people out there that are trying to figure out how to better protect themselves?
I do. I think that I have very strong feelings about how you spend money online. And spending money online does not simply mean just going on Amazon and buying something. You're spending money online whenever you walk into a physical store and put your credit card in, because that is connected to the internet. So whenever you spend your money, you have to be very cautious. For instance, if you have Google Pay, if you have Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, I recommend using it as much as possible. I know that goes against what the general public might think about these NFC payments, but nothing is transmitted except for a token. So they don't have your card number, they don't have your address, they have nothing but the token that accepted that payment in that amount, and then that's it.
Okay, so that's reducing, I think what I hear you saying is that it's reducing the amount of places that are actually getting some of this more personally identifiable information from you. Yes. Okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you. Thank you very much. It makes me feel a lot better.
But yes, your way is essentially creating those shell accounts. What you're saying, that's essentially doing the exact same thing that you're doing with Apple Pay. It's just someone else is facilitating the token transfer. You're doing it yourself with your example.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, well, I like your example too. I like it. Okay, let's see. My last question for you is, what potential effects or side effects do you see for the future of this update? Like, where do you see it going? There's so many pieces of tech moving so fast, but this one area, what do you think?
So, let's do the good first.
Okay.
Everyone is going to be more aware that they're being tracked, because now every single app is going to have to tell you that they've been tracking you, because they want you to still be tracked. So they're going to have to send you that message to ask you if you want to still be tracked.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been seeing it on apps that I am very interested as to why they're tracking me, if not just to sell that data. I've had apps like photo editors ask me if I still want to be tracked. I've had DoorDash ask me if I still want to be tracked. It's very interesting. These apps that should just be very quick interactions with, edit a photo, get off, or order food and get off. You're starting to see a lot of things that are going on in the background.
I see. Now you're saying that this is just through your iPhone device. Let me be clear. Exactly. So people that are looking, don't run to your Android and say, that's not true because I don't see it happening on my phone. He's talking about iPhones, iDevices, or Apple devices. Yes. Right. Would you be interested in coming back? I know you just said you would, but I think some of our parents, and I have actually heard from some of our college students, as well as our senior members of our audience base, that have shared this information that you put in the very first video. They've said that they think everyone needs to hear this information. They think they need to find people or share with people who are just normal, everyday people, not just educators, as well as student families and parents who, you know, are our central focus. So I guess my question to you is, in the next meeting, as we come back again and we talk about social justice, would you be willing to perhaps sit on a panel of individuals and help pull together some people who would be able to give some of this information to our audience and those that they actually want to share it with? Because apparently, from what I understand, you can speak way higher than what you are speaking right now in terms of technical terms.
Yes.
So that'll be our next segment. So for those of you watching at home, Lorenzo Williams, you heard it here first, that he agreed he would come back and kind of speak to you, and maybe be like an interpreter for those who might speak a little bit higher in terms of tech terms. He can be our interpreter, listening and giving his feedback and also helping all of you to understand. And he said he would, so I'm going to hold him to it. Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for visiting with us. Is there anything you want to say to the people out there before we leave?
Ask not to be tracked. If you don't have the update, make the update. Ask not to be tracked. And if you have an Android, you can also do the same. You just have to do a little searching for it.
Okay, then we will try to make sure that we put that on the screen nice and large, and we remind you, please remember that your privacy is your own and public data is public data, but you still have the right to tell those who are asking you for it no. Okay,
so correct.
Okay, we'll see you the next time. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye-bye. I had a great time.
We have fun having you.